Hello and welcome to POW!
PALS.
Nice, that was good. That was
really
good. I feel like I peaked really bad there.
That's good. They'll wake up.
Yeah. So
good morning.
What we're trying to do is we're trying to get you to listen to it in the morning.
Yeah.
Like as your alarm. This is the third episode, so I mean we got an archive.
We've got an archive now.
I mean we're almost at 3 hours of total content.
That is like a movie.
Soon we'll have enough for a Snyder cut.
What? Oh. Nice.
Is that what we're gonna?
I see what you did there.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Snyder cut today.
Yes, we are. Amen.
Even as if people haven't talked about it enough.
Yeah.
We just figured we'd just talk about it even more.
It's been on the radar for a long time.
Yeah.
For a really long time.
When did the first Justice League come out? Was that 2015?
Has it been that long?
It's been a good 5 years. Whoa. I feel like. I may be wrong. Let me look. I'm looking.
I mean, I'll believe it. I'll believe you.
Okay, I was wrong. It's 2017.
Okay,
so,
not that long.
So it's been 3 years. But as soon as Justice League dropped, Snyder's like, oh, guys, well, I actually have a cut of the movie. And...
it's more like I had intentions for a different movie.
He did say he has a cut, though.
He does have a cut.
I have a finished cut of the movie.
Yeah.
It's a lot longer.
Yeah.
The things that you guys didn't like in it, I mean, that wasn't in my movie.
Who knows at this point? But they did give him $70-something million or something to film more, to do more. So all intents and purposes, this is like almost a new movie.
There's 2 extra hours. It is a 4 hour. So the original Justice League was 2 hours long. This is going to be 4 hours long. But we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Yes, sir.
We're making sure that we don't skip over some other things.
Yep.
And I'm excited. Today's show is going to be jam packed.
Yeah.
I mean, it might not be. Let's just be honest.
No, let's just set expectations now, and if we fail them,
okay,
we
today's
apologize.
show is gonna suck, guys. I'm sorry.
Oh,
it's actually not. We're gonna talk about some scripture that we're reading, kind of what we think about that.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about the Snyder cut.
Yeah.
We're gonna watch the the trailer.
Yes, we are.
And we'll dive into it a little deeper.
Yep.
We'll make sure that we're very animated so you guys can clip it and send it to your wives and your girlfriends or your boyfriends, your baby daddies, whatever. It doesn't matter.
We are setting expectations all over the place for this episode.
Yeah. And then we're gonna finish with how to get into comics.
Yeah, how to get into comics.
Because it is daunting.
It's really hard. And then we'll do a part 2 of that of how to get into the Bible.
Yep, that'll be next week.
That'll be next week. Mm-hmm. But today it's all about comics.
All about comics and the Bible.
The Bible.
Let's get into it. All right, so I have been reading Romans recently, and there's one passage that really struck me, and it kind of a little bit got into our talk that we were talking about last week, which was people feeling like this is how I took it. So to summarize last week, we were talking about how I didn't have that spark that, you're on death's door and Jesus literally picks you up and says, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that and there are tons of people in our church and other churches that did not have that spark, quote unquote.
It's true.
And they still love Jesus and they still are very active. And, and so reading this passage was interesting to me. Now, this is the first time I've read the Message version of it.
Let's hear it.
I'm curious to...
I love the Message version.
I do too, dude. This is my Message Bible. I bought it for like $12 on Amazon.
I love that. It's really cool.
Yeah. All right. So
here we go.
Started with Romans 7:24.
24, okay.
7:21.
21, cool.
It happens so regular that, and this is Paul writing a letter to the epistles.
Right.
Just to give some context.
Yes, some context.
It happens so regular that it's predictable. The moment I decided to do good, sin is there to trip me up. I truly delight in God's commands, but it's pretty obvious that not all of me joins in that delight. Part of me, covertly rebel, and just when I least expect it, they take charge. That's actually, I like that better than the NIV version.
Yeah.
The word rebel right there. It happens so regular that it's predictable. The moment I decide to do good, sin is there to trip me up.
Yep.
I truly delight in God's commands, but it's pretty obvious that not all of me joins in that delight. Part of me is covertly rebel. I feel like that is a very comic, like you want to talk about Marvel Comics and Hydra, like being there covert.
Yeah.
What is it? The Skrulls?
The Skrulls, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same with them. There's a secret invasion that's coming up soon that's going to be kind of that. But
true.
That wording right there, and if that is the most, that is one of my favorite lines in the Bible.
Which one?
This passage that I just read right there.
Yeah.
The fact that sin is always there.
Yeah.
Even if you want to do good.
Yep.
It's still there.
Yeah. Let me read something to you from Psalms.
Yeah.
Which supports that. It says in Psalms 51, and I have it. This is one of those passages that I read every day of my life because I need it. But it says right here, for Psalms 51, verse 5, "For I was born a sinner, yes, from the moment my mother conceived me." So, which means that no matter what we do, because of our ancestors, Adam and Eve, we will always be sinning. There will always be a desire for us to sin, and it's not cool.
It's not.
It doesn't feel good to say that, at least to me, because I'm like, dang, but I want to do good. But I guess that's where this passage comes in, which is my desire to have this relationship with my Father, with my Heavenly Father, that I know that He looks down on me, and not in a bad way, but like in a loving way of like, well, I don't want to disappoint Him.
Yeah.
That's what I got out of that passage, which is dang, I'm gonna want to sin. I'm gonna want to do like bad things only because it's in our nature, but because I love God and because I love not disappointing Him, there's always going to be that Holy Spirit that's kind of like poking at the back of my head, like, like that's, that's wrong.
Yeah.
And God will be mad at you. And not mad, but like,
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that even if you're listening to this and you don't believe in God or Jesus or anything,
right,
you can't deny the fact that as humans, we have a part of us that is not so good.
Yeah.
There's something in us innately that makes us do bad or think bad things.
Right.
And just think about that. Like, even if you don't believe in Jesus or God or the devil or anything, there's something in us, and that's what explains it.
Yeah.
Sin is inside of us. From the moment sin happened, death was brought into this world.
That's right.
And so let's go ahead and move on. I'm going to keep reading a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I found this interesting, and it kind of answers the question. So this right here, that little passage, that says there's no hope. That's what it's saying.
Sure.
All right, so we move on to 24, Romans 7:24. I've tried everything, and nothing helps.
Yep.
I'm at the end of my rope. Is there no one who can do anything for me? Isn't that the real question? The answer, thank God, is that Jesus Christ can and does. He acted to set things right in this life of contradictions where I want to serve God with all my heart and mind, but am pulled by the influence of sin to do something totally different. So there is a constant battle and struggle between Jesus and sin and the devil. And but Jesus saved us from that. And that's hope. That's what's amazing. Is that, yes, we have those terrible things, terrible thoughts, the things that we do, but life's not over because of that.
That's right.
And so that's what gives me hope. So like I said last week, I didn't have that spark, but when I read that, that's what gives me hope. That's what provides the spark for me.
I love that, dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that. And God's word is so great because it's the only book that as you're reading it reads you. And so that it's really cool that like the Holy Spirit led that verse to you because at the end of the day, like recognizing that we have sin and that we are prone to it. We're able to sort of, it's that same thing of like, the truth will set you free. We're like, if we're truthful of like what we're doing and truthful of like how we actually are, we can find ways to help us. And like you said, even if you don't know Jesus or if you're not a Christ follower, psychologically, it's like if you know what's going on with you, you have the ability now to take what's wrong with you and find ways to fix it. For us, and what we believe in, and what our truth is that Jesus Christ came because human nature is bad, just in general.
Yeah.
And so God had to find a way to say, like, okay, I need to save them somehow. How can I do that from up here? And he says, forget it. I'll go down there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the amazing thing about Jesus is that Paul's saying it right here that yeah, we're gonna be bad. Unfortunately, there's always going to be a villain in us, and wow, that's a lot of truth. We're going to be villainous a lot of the time, but because of Jesus,
some might say we might have a little Hulk in us.
You know what? I watched a reaction of Avengers the other day, and how he said, "That's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry."
Yeah.
That's true for us.
Yeah.
I'm always angry.
Yeah.
Like I'm always frustrated at something.
Yep.
But through Jesus, it's our way out. It's our way for us to reset ourselves every day. That's good, Jake.
Yeah,
I love that, man.
I loved reading that, and I loved hearing that, and it just, I don't know why, it just spoke to me, and especially when I was talking about what we were talking about last week, which is normal. It's normal to have doubts.
Yes.
Doubts happen all the time.
Absolutely.
It's talking to someone about it. It's asking questions. It's reading the Bible, trying to find out the answers.
Yep.
And it's okay to have doubts. Anyone that tells you you cannot have doubts, they're lying to you.
Absolutely.
Every single Christian in this world has had a doubt in their life at least once.
Absolutely. It's unbiblical even to say that you don't have doubts. It's not truthful.
Yeah.
I made a TikTok yesterday about how in Spider-Man: Homecoming, Peter yelled at Tony and was like, "You're not even here. You're not even here. You're not helping me. I told you this was happening, but you're not helping me." And of course he was wrong because Tony was there the whole time. But that's often what we say, and we have to be honest about that. Like our conversations have to be honest with God. Like there are times when I'm gonna be crying out. I'm gonna be like, "Where are you?
Yeah,
where are you, God? Like I'm suffering right now. So where are you?" But God's the only one big enough to handle that. He's the only one that can actually hear that and say, "Okay, good, fine, good. Now you need me. You need me." We can't easily say that to other people. We have what, a handful, maybe even less than a handful of people who we can actually be honest with.
Yeah.
Our reactions with, and thankfully, God's able to handle that, and He's strong enough and way more. I mean, He's the only one that could do anything about it. It was cool. It was a good revelation at watching Spider-Man: Homecoming and getting that out of it.
That's good because I like that movie. Does the MCU Spider-Man not feel like Spider-Man to you?
He feels more like Spider-Man to me than Tobey Maguire or
really?
or
okay.
Andrew Garfield.
I understand the actor playing him.
Yes,
but the version of Spider-Man doesn't necessarily feel like Spider-Man. Like the story around him, I should say.
Yeah, agreed with that because initially Spider-Man was very isolated, but here he in the MCU he was integrated into the team already. Like it was quick. That was his introduction. He was a part of the Avengers, like quote unquote, the part of the Avengers already, right?
Yeah. Which I understand why they did that,
right? Because
we've already seen Spider-Man introductions twice in the past 15 years.
Yeah. They had to make it different.
True. But I don't know.
But I agree with you though, that typically a Spider-Man comic involves kind of him being alone.
Yeah.
And him kind of having to deal with his own inner dialogue and suffer alone almost.
Yeah, he gets a suit from Iron Man before he even has his own movie.
Yeah.
Doesn't he get that in Civil War?
He does get that in Civil War, yeah. I mean, You know, it's almost like it's almost like they want you to imagine his life before.
Yeah.
You know, and which is okay. I mean, I get it. Business. It's all business. You know what I mean? We've already seen like you said, 2 Spider-Man franchises. And I've talked to so many people who were like, oh my gosh, another Spider-Man. And I was like, no, you don't understand. You don't get it. He's not part of the MCU yet. So, you know, I was trying to
kind of like the X-Men, hopefully.
Oh,
will be. Which
yes.
I think X-Men holds a spot in my heart because I don't think I've ever read an X-Men comic. But
you haven't?
I don't think so.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, you need to give me some reading recommendations.
It's good stuff, yeah.
But just the movies, like I'm talking about the OG X-Men movies from the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Were amazing. Like I
think so, yeah.
I love those movies.
Yeah.
So those characters I remember when I was younger, and I guess I watched the animated show too.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
But Gambit used to be my favorite. I don't even know why.
That's funny.
He was kind of in X-Men Origins, wasn't he? He wasn't was he in any of the other X-Men?
He was in I'm pretty sure he was in a Wolverine movie. Pretty sure.
Yeah, the Wolverine.
Was it Origins? Yeah, Origins. There you go. Yeah. Huh. But that's it. They were talking about Channing Tatum becoming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And it never happened.
Bring him into the MCU. That would be amazing.
Come on.
Gambit, like putting like the flame or whatever he put on the
it's like psionic energy or something. I don't know what
on
it
the
is.
cards.
Yeah.
So
it's cool. It's a very cool
and then
concept.
He has a staff too.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And I love his accent.
All right, let's get into the Snyder Cut.
Okay.
I've been waiting for
this.
Let's
do it.
All right, let's watch it.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so excited. Dude,
there you go.
I am really hoping that this doesn't disappoint me.
Yeah, me too.
Because first off,
what's coming out of his mouth?
That's his scream. It's making like an echo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that. I like the burning of the city.
I'm so excited to see Darkseid live.
Me too, man.
DC is. Oh, I'm so excited because this is DC. Like, if we see Martian Manhunter and Green Lantern, which we're supposed to, I will flip.
I was so excited for Green Lantern. I mean, that little show of him in the first movie. What is that?
There's Darkseid, baby.
Yeah, that's Darkseid. Yeah. Oh, did you see Grandma? Did you see?
Yeah.
You see the?
Yeah. Steppenwolf looks so much better.
He looks way better.
Oh, that armor looks amazing.
Yeah. He looks more alien, which I like.
I'm happy they're gonna show more Aquaman stuff.
Yes.
Because a lot of it in the original Justice League, you're like, I don't understand.
Right. Oh wow.
We get to see Superman in his black suit too.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Dude.
Was that Darkseid?
That was Darkseid, yeah.
Wow, this is so epic.
Iris West.
Yeah, they needed Iris West to flesh out the Flash a little bit more.
Yep.
Henry Cavill
Black
so
suit,
ripped.
baby.
Yes. Ah. I wish he had his long hair like in the comic books, but that's okay. I'll take it.
Who's Superman?
Yeah.
Like the most recent one?
No, so in the original like black suit Superman, he had really long hair.
Oh yeah.
Like down to his shoulders. Wow, that's cool. A little bit more cyborg action.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
We got more. Unless it's just. Oh yeah, the Joker. He does look a lot better.
He looks so much better.
Memories and distant memories. Isn't that right?
Wow. I wonder what his role is in this.
Well, from what I've seen, is that he is just going to be in the. You know how in Batman vs Superman there was a nightmare scene?
I see.
So there's supposed to be another nightmare scene.
I see.
And he's going to be in the nightmare scene.
Cool.
I'm excited though.
I'm excited. That looks so good.
That's the thing that worries me is that they've shown us so much. I don't want. Granted, there's going to be 2 hours more than the original Justice League.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna know what happens a little bit, you know.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so, but I hope they're able to flesh out because this is 2 movies basically.
It is.
Like he originally wanted to do 2 movies for the Justice League.
Yeah.
To really flesh out Darkseid.
That would have been smart.
But now he basically has 2 movies.
Yeah.
Like he has 4. It might be longer than 4. It could be 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
I don't think they've released like we just know it's going to be at least 4 hours long.
Weren't they going to do that? Like there was a news source that said that they were going to release it in parts before, but then they scrapped it almost immediately.
HBO Max wanted to do that.
Yeah, because it's.
But Snyder's like, nah, baby, nah. Give me it in full 5 hour long.
Dude,
I don't even care. I just want it to be a cohesive DC story.
Yes.
That is amazing. And these are my characters.
Yeah.
I love, honestly, the only character that I think they did a bad job like casting was Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
He's the only one that I really was like, it's not a good casting.
Yeah, at first I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt that like Jesse Eisenberg would give a different take on it, but then I was like, but it doesn't work with Batfleck's Batman.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. And I wanted to like it, you know, like I wanted to be like, ooh, that's unique and different. I tried to defend it, honestly.
Yeah.
But I just got to be honest. You just have to be honest with yourself at some point, and you're just like, it's not hitting as well as it should.
It's
like
not.
I really wanted. I think about it now. I'm like, dang, I wish there was an older Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Like it just like the whole crazy young millennial, like,
which I'm fine with. I don't know. There was just something missing.
That's what I'm saying. It's fine. It's fine if like. It's fine if if that's like his own movie or something. If they're like, if that's Lex Luthor's movie, whatever, by himself. But it just doesn't work with the Snyderverse. I don't know. It just doesn't fit in well with me.
I still don't love Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne. But because I was curious because the way that he fights is like,
I love the way
super brooding and like he's huge.
He is huge.
Ben Affleck is 6'4" in real life.
Yeah.
So like that Batman is just bigger than everyone else.
Yeah.
And I love that take on it.
Yeah.
Like I've never really thought. I don't know. I guess I imagined Batman was like 6 foot.
Right. Yeah.
But 6'4" Batman.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yes. And that's the whole point, is that he's supposed to incite fear. That's why he took on the bat mantle, the bat costumes. But so like, and even when it first came out, I loved his thick, like just the thick suit, like the
suit is the best it's ever looked.
It's raw and it's like powerful, and like you said, I like that a lot. I just hope that like you said, I just really wish his Bruce Wayne was a little I don't know. There is something missing from his Bruce Wayne, and I think it may be the writing.
That is a big part of it.
Yeah, because I think Ben Affleck has done the best he could with the material.
Yeah, true. That's a good point. We did talk about it before the podcast, how we love Zack Snyder's like over the top take on like
everything,
comic book fights and the way that the comic book characters look.
I think it fits in well, especially for superheroes like this,
especially Superman, like
having big, grand, visual fights, explosions. The contrast is so nice. The colors that he uses makes me feel like it's really epic. You know, if you think
it should be.
And it should be. If you think about 300,
Superman fighting Darkseid or Doomsday should be epic.
It should be so
epic. They could
epic.
literally blow the planet up if they wanted to.
It should be very anime.
Yeah.
That's what I think of.
Absolutely.
And like Marvel's different because they have humans in their teams.
Yeah.
It's not just the Hulk. It's guys like Hawkeye who need to feel grounded. Like so yeah, I agree. Like all the huge Wonder Woman, Superman, Aquaman, Flash fights, like they should be grand and huge. But what did we say? We also said, man, we wish Zack's writing was better. Like
that was me making a fart noise. Yeah, Snyder's writing sucks though.
Yeah, he like I was saying earlier, he needs a partner, much like, you know, how the Russo brothers are a partnership and you know, the Wachowski sisters were a partnership. I don't know if they
Who would let's think of the best person to be his. How about the Snyder Bros, and we just throw Scott Snyder in there, and Scott Snyder can write for Zack Snyder.
Why not?
Because listen,
he writes
that
comic
would be
books.
the best team ever.
Yeah.
Scott Snyder is, I would say, the Zack Snyder of comic books.
Comic books, yeah.
The stories that he writes are so
They're really
big
good.
and crazy.
Yeah.
And if you were to put, let's say, Death Metal or Dark
Yeah.
Knight's Metal, or even his Batman run,
Yeah.
put it into Zack Snyder's universe, whoo, that would be amazing.
I wonder why it hasn't happened yet.
I don't know.
There has to be something.
Warner Brothers just cannot get out of their way.
You don't.
Their
You
own
think
way.
so? You think it's business?
It's 100% business.
Okay.
That's why, because you know that people are walking up here. Oh, hi, guys.
Oh, hey guys.
People act like this is an office that people
I know.
work in.
People think like they could just walk in here.
Yeah, and just interrupt us. But let me get
Yeah.
back to what I was saying. What was I saying?
Well, Scott Snyder.
Oh, yeah, Scott Snyder.
The like business wise. So it sounds like they can't. So Warner Brothers can't.
So from what I've heard and read, what happened was that Zack Snyder
Yeah.
actually shot a bunch of footage, and when they fired him
Yeah.
and they brought Joss Whedon on,
Yeah.
they reshot like 50 to 80% of what was already shot.
Yeah.
Joss Whedon shot it.
Yep.
So the movie that ended up coming out, Justice League, was really Joss Whedon's Justice League.
It's mostly Joss Whedon.
The funny thing is, do you know how like the Superman like mustache thing was a huge thing? They actually didn't reshoot anything for the Zack Snyder one. They said that he actually shot enough footage the first time with Zack Snyder without the mustache.
Really
Yes. So they didn't have to reshoot any of that.
interesting.
From what I've seen and heard, they didn't have to reshoot any of that.
Huh.
So that means that they had the footage.
Interesting.
They had
didn't
the
use
footage,
it.
but they just threw it out because Zack Snyder directed and Joss Whedon put together the Justice League.
Interesting. Wow. I didn't know any of that.
So what continues to happen, and it's same with like Suicide Squad and like not the one that's about to come out because
Yeah.
that one actually looks good.
Yeah.
But they just are always getting in their own way. At every step,
Yeah.
they get in their own way.
Yeah.
It's like if you're going to give Zack Snyder the creative ability to do something, then let him do it.
Yeah.
Don't put it through all of this rope and ribbon
Yeah.
and make him like cut his way through all of
Yeah.
that. Just let him do, and they're finally letting him do it, but that's because of fans, and HBO Max needs more people to subscribe.
Right.
So they're like, we'll give you 70 million, shoot
Yeah.
whatever you need, and then hopefully we get a bunch of people.
You know what's really interesting about that critique, Jake, is that a lot of people say that like Marvel has a formula and that they don't let their directors have creative control. And yet when we look at DC movies, the DCEU movies, people say like, oh yeah, they let all their directors have creative control, and it's like its own little thing. And I'm finding out more and more that that's totally false.
100% false.
And the reason why the DC movies have not worked, and like you have to be honest, guys, like we all have to be honest here about less than half of DC movies that have come out recently are not hitters.
And
They don't
pains
hit.
me. That pains me.
Yeah, and it pains me too. And trust me, I am a DC fan. I'm both. I'm a DC Marvel fan. I'm
I'm getting more into Marvel comics now, so that is helping me be more okay with it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm a superhero fan. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
I just love superhero stuff,
Yes.
and so I want the content to be good. But you know, honestly, if we're trying to critique Marvel and DC, just remember that like there's a reason why Marvel is working and DC isn't.
And that's because of Kevin Feige.
And there's because they have somebody who is taking the charge on it, and DC has not. They've switched over creative directors like so many times, like the last three or like 4 or 5
With
years.
Marvel, there is a plan. Kevin Feige, just like the comics, you know how comics will do crossovers and
Yeah.
there's like, you know, all these things are connected.
Yeah.
He wanted that for the MCU.
That's right.
So he's like, all right, we're going to start this, but I want to make sure that all of this ties together.
Yeah.
And now they're doing more shows on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And even the shows on Disney Plus are going to tie together.
That's right.
The thing that sucks about DC is that they don't tie together.
Yeah.
They kind of tie together in the movies,
Yeah.
but the shows on the CW don't tie into the movies.
Yeah.
I guess that's a different multiverse. That's what they say.
Right.
But that's a cop out. That's a cheap way to say, yeah, they're in a different multiverse.
And here's the thing: is I've been okay with them not connecting. I really have. But I think as far as content and storytelling, like if you wanna compete, which it sounds like they do. It sounds like DC and Warner Brothers wants to compete. Then they have to start copying their competitor a little bit.
Or at
and I
least
think they're trying, but
make them tie together somewhat. The cool thing, do you have HBO Max?
I do.
Have you watched Titans and Doom Patrol?
I have not.
Those two tie together.
That's
and
nice.
those two shows are awesome.
Cool.
Like they're really good.
Cool.
Which helps
Yeah.
because now we're seeing content that is being done that is DC, that is not the CW.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, I liked The Flash, I liked Arrow,
Yeah.
I liked all of those CW shows.
Yeah.
But Titans and Doom Patrol are more like Disney Plus shows that like WandaVision that is
They have
good.
a bigger budget, better.
Yes. So like I'm pretty sure Titans and Doom Patrol had an okay budget the first season, and they were such successes that they got more funding for the second season.
Yeah.
Because Titans season 2 was a lot better as far as budget.
Okay.
Like they brought Trigon into the
Wow.
second season of Titans.
Wow.
And he actually didn't look bad.
Okay.
So
Nice.
It's really cool. Like
I'd rather have less episodes with better quality than more episodes with not good quality, because that's the thing about the CW is that every season of The Flash and Arrow were like more than 15, almost to 20 episodes a season, and spanning out that amount of time and like trying to lengthen and like you start to muddle your storytelling a little bit. You start to reach, and
Also,
the effects aren't that great.
Arrow, it worked because he wasn't a superhero.
Right.
So they had choreography and stuff that looked amazing.
Yep.
But The Flash,
Oh,
I love The Flash. I love the show.
I do too.
But it is a CW version of, like he's crying almost every episode.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
it's weird.
it is, it was... I like the show. I'm not making fun of people that like the show. I've watched like every season. I've watched every season of Arrow.
Yeah.
But the special effects just are not good.
Yeah.
They're just not. I mean, if you put them up against, let's say WandaVision or even Mandalorian, like, it's not even close.
That's what I'm saying is that like, is at the end of the day, like and I know this is network, right? The network wants more.
Yeah.
Like they want more. And so the more they push, the more the content, the more the storytelling gets like wonky and stretched, and and it feels like you're not even. It feels like they're very loose, and they don't have much. So I don't know. When it comes back to Snyder, if we're going to talk about the Snyder Cut again, I like the fact that they put more money into it.
Yeah,
and I like the fact that they, like you said earlier, that Zack Snyder was given a second chance, and he was able to watch the first movie.
He knows what fans liked and didn't like.
Yeah, he knows what.
It's almost getting a second chance. It's hindsight 2020.
Yeah,
like if we were to make a project, and then we heard what people liked or didn't like.
Yeah,
and then we're like, we know how to fix it.
Right.
Like we know exactly.
Yeah,
we know what not to do. Because the Justice League is not what people wanted.
Yep.
It wasn't that bad of like people overreact. It wasn't that bad of a movie.
I agree.
But there were some things that are like, okay, like I just wish we could get more Darkseid. I wish we could flesh out like the characters a little bit more because they were not fleshed out really at all.
Yep.
Steppenwolf is a bad guy, kind of fleshed out, but not really.
Yeah.
So having 4 hours, 5, whatever it ends up being, is going to be interesting, seeing if he can correct the mistakes that Joss Whedon made in the first Justice League.
Yeah. And it's always weird when a director comes in halfway through and tries to finish the vision of the first director, because no matter what, you're going to have your own ideas about it.
Yeah.
And Joss Whedon has such a different eye than Zack Snyder does that like it kind of didn't make sense for him to be the predecessor, you know? And I know there was something going on with Zack's personal life as well, right? Was it his daughter or something like that?
I don't know.
That passed,
I'm not sure.
Yeah. So, when you have somebody in a weird in a bad headspace, it's appropriate to like to say like, okay, let's just like have you off the project and things like that. But I would argue as to say like, we should have just moved the movie back. Like, don't even release it because at this point,
that's common sense though.
Yeah,
and Warner Brothers doesn't do that.
Yeah. Well, you know,
let's talk about what we really want to talk about.
Yes.
And that's how to get into comic books.
Ooh.
Because
how do you
listen,
get into
I'm
comic
excited about Snyderverse.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the Snyder Cut. But we could be disappointed.
We could.
You know what we're not disappointed in? Is if we read one issue
Yes.
of a comic and we're like, man, I didn't like that. I'm not going to read it anymore.
That's right.
It takes what, 15 minutes of our life?
Yeah.
We'll survive.
Yeah.
Snyder Cut's going to take 4 hours of our life at least. And if we're disappointed,
Right.
we're going to be real disappointed.
Yeah, exactly. And so Jake, how do you, so let's say that I really want to get into Spider-Man comics, but that has a legacy of like almost 50 years.
Boy, it does.
So how do I get into that in today's times?
That's a hard question to answer.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is that the reason why it took me so long to really dive in, I would say the past year and a half, I've really dove into comics. Like I'm caught up on all the runs that I want to read, Batman, Thor. I'm caught up on the things that I want to read.
Yeah.
The thing that kept me away is that when you see Batman issue 115 or something like that,
rough.
you're like, what?
Yeah.
How do I?
Yeah.
Now there are two options. You can either start from the beginning of the most recent run, so you can go to Batman 1 of whatever year that it started.
True.
Or this is what I would recommend is that I would actually I guess there's three options.
Yep.
There's a couple YouTube channels where you can like watch the comics. They'll explain to you what's happening and stuff.
Right.
Comics Explained is one. Variant Comics is another. Both great channels.
Good. Dope Spill Comics is good too.
Dope Spill Comics. Or you can read the most recent not run, but I guess it's like Bad Guy.
Sure.
6 issues or whatever it is.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
like I read Amazing Spider-Man, and it was like Last Remains or something. So
Yeah.
it's a 5 or 6 issue run, and then there's Postmortem is the one after that. So I'm gonna be caught up on that, and
Yeah.
then what happens is just like a movie, it will take what happened in that, and then it will go to the next villain or whatever is next.
Yeah.
So then you will start to build knowledge
Yeah.
as you go and as the story builds.
Right.
Now, if you want to find out more, so like Amazing Spider-Man, I started issue 50. And,
Nice.
and it goes to 57 or something to finish up the whole arc.
Yeah.
And if I wanted to read more from that writer and find out more about that specific character that they're writing, because it's going to be a little different than, someone else that wrote Amazing Spider-Man
True.
10, 15 years ago.
It's true.
I can go back to issue 1 and then just read
Yep.
up to 50.
Just go up to 50, yeah.
But just read the most recent arc. I guess that
Yeah.
would be my advice.
Yep.
And then if you want to find out more, like in the most recent Amazing Spider-Man arc, they reference like big things that happened in so like they reference Gwen Stacy dying.
Sure.
They reference Harry, like things that happened to Harry,
Yeah.
things that Peter did. So if you didn't really know what happened, then you can look it up. You can,
Yep.
sometimes I'll be reading a comic and I'll be like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And I'll see a character or something, and then I'll just Google it.
Literally.
I'll Google it just to
Yep.
find out what happened or who they are or whatever. And yeah, that would be my advice.
Yeah.
Because it took me years, because I'm like, I guess I'll buy this one. And then I wouldn't read it, or I would read it and I'm like, I would be late. So like I would buy like 4-week-old issue or 2-month-old issues.
Yeah.
And then I find it hard finding the issues to get caught up.
Yeah. I agree with you. That's all that stuff is absolutely like that's the way to go. And the encouragement that I want to give to new comic book readers is don't feel so bogged down by the history of a character or the history of a story that like you can't just like start doing it. So yeah, what I would say is just do it. Just even if it's from like 2021 right now, right? Like if you find a comic book that looks cool Didn't even it has a character that you like, especially now that the characters are in the movies. If there's a character that you want to explore from the movies, pick that character. Pick up their latest issue, and then don't even worry about like what you don't know. Read it. If you enjoy it, like you said, Google their history. You'll understand. You'll understand where they're coming from, and then you can start collecting from that point.
Yep.
You don't have to know everything about a single character, like at all. At all.
You know honestly. What we didn't mention either, which is very helpful, is that you can also there are single issues that you can buy.
Yeah.
But another great way that will have the complete story is a trade.
Yeah.
So a trade paperback or just a trade in general will have 5-6 issues, and that will have the complete story.
Yep.
So, if you start 4 issues in, you're like, I don't understand anything.
Yeah.
If you buy the trade, which usually comes out like a month or two after the complete arc is done, then you can read the entire. So like Batman, like I was saying, I think there's 106 or 107 issues out right now. So 107 or 108 will come out in March for the current Batman run.
Right.
They have trades, and the first one is like Court of Owls, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So you can buy the trade, and you won't have any problem finding a trade. You can order on Amazon, go to your local comic book shop. I'm sure they'll have a trade of Batman 1. It'll say 1, so they're very easy to read. So it'll be fairly thick.
Yeah.
Graphic novel is
Yep.
And then you can read that. Go from 1 to 2 to 3, so on and so forth. And then you don't have to buy the single issues because there's going to be a lot of single issues. Like I know, for instance, if you try to buy Batman issue 1 for the most recent run from 2012 or whatever, you're not going to find it. It's going to be like hundreds of dollars on the resale market.
Yeah.
So buying a trade is the best way to read something or get caught up on the character that you want to find.
It's true. And there's also lots of speaking of resale, there are tons of people who are always selling their comic books. So I would go as far as like go online, Facebook Marketplace, search for like people are always giving their comic books away. Just by nature of like, needing more storage or whatever. So you never know. You'll meet people, you'll meet comic book fans all over the place just by trading comic books and just by like searching the interwebs. But I do want to say that we talked about YouTube earlier. Follow literally the reason I got caught up on my favorite characters is literally just by watching YouTube videos of like where they're at right now. Like the reason I know what's going on with Null, the symbiote god, is that I just watched YouTube videos all over it, and then I started reading like 15 issues in. You know what I mean? Like, and there's tons of events that have so many things tied into it. Like, let's say, for example, we know the Civil War movie came out, a couple years ago. I was so unknowledgeable about this Civil War, the comic book, that I was like, okay, how am I going to do this? And so I literally just bought the regular Civil War comic books, and then I watched YouTube videos on what the other tie-ins were doing. Like Captain America's arc or Iron Man's comic book or Spider-Man. So like there's tons of YouTube videos. YouTube is so great for comic books. Like they really explain a lot.
Also, if there is a huge comic book event happening, like right now is King in Black. Before that with DC, it was Death Metal.
Yep.
Don't get bogged down because there are so many side issues that come out
that don't really matter. Even.
No, don't get bogged down. Like you could literally now, if you want to like expand on the story, you could read the side issues. Yep. But if you want to read King in Black and Venom, those are the two that really matter. Yep. The fight scenes happen in King in Black. Yep. The actual story that you want to read is in Venom.
Yep.
Those are the two comic books that you should be reading if you want to read King in Black, which I recommend. All right, let's finish with this.
Yep.
If you could recommend one current run that you are thoroughly enjoying that someone would enjoy, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, that's really good. On
the spot.
Okay.
Rapid fire. Here we go.
Let's go.
3, 2, 1.
Bruce Wayne, Dark Detective.
Ooh, it is very good.
Because it's new.
It is new.
That's literally only 2. There's only 2 issues out right now, right? 3?
I think there's 3.
3. So,
but yeah, I would read them digitally.
Yeah.
Because at a local comic book store, DC is doing something very stupid. They are putting extra stories in the back and then charging more.
Yeah.
So you read one issue of Dark Detective and it costs $7.
Yeah.
But you can buy a digital issue of it, and I'm pretty sure it's cheaper.
It's cheaper. It's like $3.
Yeah, it's cheaper on there.
Yeah.
Mine is actually Marvel. There's two that I can't help but continue to read. Maestro, which is
Interesting.
Maestro Hulk.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you got to read it. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's basically. Do you know what Maestro is?
I do. Yeah. He's part of the multiverse. He's another version of the Hulk.
Yeah. So basically, humans kill themselves. They just like nuclear warheads everywhere. They blow up everyone.
Yep.
So he wakes up like 500 years in the future or something, or 50 or whatever. It's a long time in the future.
Yeah.
And there's these new civilizations that are popping up.
Yep.
And so he ends up finding one that is run by Hercules, and I don't want to ruin it, but he ends up taking control.
Yep.
And he's just this ruthless warlord, basically.
Yep.
So it's really interesting.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of action and stuff. But the one that I would recommend that one, but the one that I would for sure recommend, and which I did not think that Thor comics would be so good. I'm going back and reading God of Thunder with Gore the God Butcher, and it's been amazing. The art style is awesome.
So good.
It's been so good. But the one I would recommend is Thor, that's happening right now with Donny Cates.
Yeah.
It is so good. From issue to issue, there's just so much crazy goodness that happens that like you can't read the first issue and be like, nah, it was okay.
Yeah.
Like it's that amazing.
They answer a lot of questions. This version of Thor is answering some questions, especially one about Donnie Blake.
Yes.
And that's a good one. That's a good one, Jake.
Yeah.
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 Awesome.
So Thor would be mine. Other than that, I think we've covered it all that we wanted to cover today.
I think so. Yeah, it was a really good episode, guys. Please subscribe to this channel for more. We will get this up on all podcast platforms. So
yeah. Do you want to pray us out?
I do. All right, here we go. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for letting us talk about the things that you've put in us, the interests that we have, meaning comic books and all things entertainment and nerdy pop culture stuff. So thank you for providing that for us to teach gospel through it, because you are in everything, God. Even though we don't see it, it's there. So God, we love you. We thank you so much for art. We thank you so much for creativity, for your goodness, for your love and your mercy and your grace. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right.
Peace.